What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, here for the best bets and props of UFC 286. All of my bets placed so far for this weekend's pay-per-view card from London, featuring that awesome trilogy matchup for the welterweight title between Leon Rocky Edwards defending for the first time against Kamaru Usman. Can't wait for that. The co-main event, that lightweight bout between Rafael Fiziev and Justin Gaethje, should be a banger as well. And right now, we still have 15 fights on this card, pre-weigh-ins, so we have to get through the weigh-ins, which are in the morning. But aside from that, I've got 4 money lines and 2 props, so gonna get into all of that action. I do have some additional recommended props I do like but haven't bet myself for this weekend at the end. And I'll be doing a live fight companion stream with Johnny K Picks on his channel alongside our friends Cody, Blood Money MMA Bets, and our guy Lou Betya. So bringing back that 4-man crew to watch the fights on Saturday. And what's customary for that is I usually do like a progressive parlay where I pair fighters in order of confidence from top to bottom, try to include all of the fighters I can to get a long progressive parlay at the end. Pretty low risk, high reward type of action. I got to wait until after the weigh-ins to place that, so I'll put the scheme of what I think I might do based on my order of confidence, and I put out a YouTube short which shows, which fighters I think are going to win most likely and least likely, so I'll put that together after. I'll put like an outline of what I might do. It would be like 5 units to win 50, and then hoping to break even if some chalky favorites come through. But hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's break into the main betting action I have right now, which is starting with Todorovich Klein at lightweight over Jai Herbert. I've got 2 units on Klein at minus 155. And I just think he's got the better comprehensive striking game, better combinations, better striking output. He's going to be a bit outsized, but he's a muscular guy, very good in and out movement, some good cage wrestling. And against the lacking durability of Jai Herbert, I just think that Todorovich Klein is far less likely to get finished in this matchup. And he's going to be firing off those kicks from the southpaw stance against the orthodox Jai Herbert. Younger, looks pretty good at 155, so I feel pretty good about Todorovich Klein here. Second money line on the prelims, I've got Christian Leroy Duncan to make a successful debut and defeat Duško Todorovich. And Todorovich, we've seen 3 wins, 3 losses in the UFC so far. All of his wins are over a competition that's no longer in the UFC. And his losses are against guys that are pretty good, but a couple of those have been finishes. We've seen the defensive liability of Duško Todorovich, hands-down style, pulls back in a straight line, can get trapped in the cage trying to evade. And I think Christian Leroy Duncan is going to find his mark and knock out Duško at some point. Round 1, possible. Round 2, maybe more likely. Maybe we'll see Duško come in here and try to grapple a bit, but Leroy Duncan's defensive wrestling is not bad. His get-up game is really good. Athletic guy, very dynamic, creative striker as well. So even though he's a bit low volume in this matchup, I think it will build over time. He's got better cardio, and I think he will put Todorovich out. And I've got the Duncan inside the distance prop as well. So 1 unit on his money line at minus 190 for Duncan, and then the Leroy Duncan inside the distance prop. Minus 110 is the cost. 0.5 units is what I paid for it. So that's the first prop and the second money line. Third money line, I've got Lerone Murphy defeating Gabriel Santos. I paid 3.5 units at minus 135 on Lerone Murphy. Took advantage of that line on DraftKings when it came out a little bit light. I was surprised this wasn't minus 200 or above for Lerone Murphy. I think it's around minus 170 at this point. Gabriel Santos, undefeated prospect out of the LFA. Young Brazilian at 26 years old. Very good BJJ when he can get the fight to the mat. Not the best wrestling to get it there. His striking is okay as well. Good striking selection, powerful, but head movement's not the best. Footwork not the best. Defensively, I think he will slow down. And I think Lerone Murphy's got a big advantage at striking range, way more athletic and explosive. And Murphy's got solid submission defense as well. So as long as he's not testing himself on the defense in the BJJ realm, I think Lerone Murphy should be okay in this spot, even after a 1.5 year long layoff. Again, Santos making his debut, short notice, first international fight for a young guy. I think it's a lot to ask in a debut spot. So took advantage of that, put the hammer down on 3.5 units on Lerone Murphy. And my final money line on this card is in the main event. I've got Kamaru Usman defeating Leon Rocky Edwards and getting his belt back in this trilogy matchup at welterweight. I just see this as being more like the first time these guys met years ago, and like the majority of the bout that we saw in August, where Kamaru Usman was dominating rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 up until that head kick knockout. So fair play. Leon Edwards did capitalize on that first takedown ever successfully landed on Kamaru Usman in round 1. Got the back, threatened the choke. That was great. I don't see that happening in the majority of the exchanges in this fight. I think Usman's going to wrestle more effectively, have more cage control. He's really good in the clinch. He's got amazing cardio as well, and he's higher output with his striking as well. So I don't think he should strike at range and risk, that anomaly of a head kick happening again. But even still, he landed way more. I think it was like 2 to 3 times as many total strikes as Leon Edwards had in that bout just in August. So, yeah, I mean, the narrative is on the Leon Edwards side. He's in his hometown. He's got the championship belt, confidence around his waist. He's got, maybe a guy in Kamaru Usman is he not motivated anymore? Is he nearing retirement? Is his age at 35 too much? I see a lot of Leon Edwards backers thinking that his durability is completely shattered now. Could be, but I can't prove any of those things. I got to look at the matchup skill set wise, and I think Usman's going to once again dominate at most areas of mixed martial arts. I have 4 units on Usman at minus 240 to win this bout. For my 6th and final bet, I do have a prop on Jake Hadley inside the distance to defeat Malcolm Gordon. Minus 135 is the price tag on that for Hadley to either get a submission or a knockout, and minus 135 I put 1.35 units to win 1 on that. Malcolm Gordon, not the most durable, not the most skilled fighter at flyweight. For flyweight to be as undurable as he is, he's lost 6 bouts by finish, all 6 of his losses by finish, 4 by knockout, 2 by submission, whereas Jake Hadley's the opposite. He's a finisher himself. 7 of his 9 wins have been by finish. I think there's a big disparity on the feet at striking range, and if Jake Hadley can go in here and stand with Malcolm Gordon, I think he knocks him out or gets a club and sub in this matchup. He's got a very slick back take, does Hadley, and we saw in his last bout he can wrap up a triangle choke in an instant. So give me Jake Hadley to get the victory here inside the distance. Now, there's a handful of props that I like, but I have not played myself this weekend. But one of them is Marvin Vittori to win by decision over Roman Dolidze. I like that one. Neither guy been finished in their pro career so far. Both durable. I think Vittori has the better cardio. It's forward pressure and striking offense to get this done over Dolidze. So I can see him getting his hand raised by decision. I got to give credit to my guy Danny Lags, who I did a stream with this past week. Gunnar Nelson, same game parlayed over Brian Barberena to not only win, but to get 1 or more takedowns or 2 or more takedowns. On DraftKings, you can hit the same game parlay button, select the winner, which would be Gunnar Nelson, who's a minus 360 favorite in this bout, but you can chop that down by adding on him getting takedowns. So I like that. 2 or more takedowns and Gunnar to win on DraftKings, minus 105 at this point on that parlay. So his most likely path over Barberena would be to ground him, get this fight down to the mat with his wrestling. We know the wrestling defense is a big kryptonite for Barberena. So just for him to land a takedown on Barberena gets back up at some point, and then he has to take him down one more time for 2 takedowns. You can take down that minus 360 money line on Nelson and get minus 105 on DraftKings. I like that. Got to shout out Danny Lags for putting that combination together. I do like the other big favorites on this card to win inside the distance as well. I chose the Jake Hadley one because I just don't like the lacking durability of Malcolm Gordon, but Makayev to win inside the distance is minus 150 over Jafel Filo, and Jack Shore to win inside the distance over Makwan Amirkhani is minus 110. I like both of those as well. So any of those big favorites, you could chop down their giant money line by taking them inside the distance, and I like all of those props. So there's all 6 of my bets, my 4 money lines, my 2 props. Then some miscellaneous props I do like as well. I mentioned at the top I will be doing probably a progressive parlay on this as well. Just some degenerate action to spice up the live stream I'm doing with Johnny K Picks and the boys on Saturday. Got 15 fights on this card, so there's a lot of good favorites I can parlay together. And I did drop my YouTube short yesterday, which is my order of confidence. I went from the first confident fighter, which for me is Jack Shore, down to my last confident pick, which is like Juliana Miller, the first fight of the night. And I would pair off the first 3 fighters in a 3-leg parlay for this one if they all make weight. I would do those chalky favorites, Jack Shore, Jake Hadley, Mohamed Makayev, which is like minus 154. Combined parlay odds for a 3-leg parlay, I'd put 3 units on that to win 2. And then after that, I would keep on pairing off my next 2 confident fighters in pairs of parlays. I'll put it up on the screen to show you what I mean. I've done this before on this channel if you've watched for a while. But since I'm winning 2 units potentially on that first leg of chalky favorites, I would not risk more than 2 units total with the rest of the parlays. So, I would be adding Kamaru Usman, Lerone Murphy for a unit, Vittori, Joanne Wood for a half of a unit, Fiziev Nelson for 0.2, Leroy and Klein for 0.1, Sam Patterson, Omar Morales for 0.1, and then finally, least confident would be Jennifer Maya and Juliana Miller for 0.1 units. So if you add that up, from Usman and Murphy all the way down to the rest of the parlays, that equals 2 units. So as long as Jack Shore, Jake Hadley, and Muhammad Mokaev don't screw up, I would break even if everything else loses on this parlay. So all said and done, it would be like 5 units risk to win about 50 units or so. If everybody makes weight, that's how I would do this. So I'll log that all on the screen. It'll make more sense when you see it in writing if you're familiar with progressive parlay. So that's what I plan to do. That would be just a very small shot in the dark there just to make the live stream a little bit more entertaining and sweat some bets out with the boys on Saturday. So check that out on Johnny K. Picks' channel. Like and subscribe to my channel as well. Like the video. It does help. It goes a long way, and I appreciate all of your support so far. Good luck and enjoy the fights this weekend, everybody.